If you use the Canon 5D Mark IV to shoot video, and particularly video with people in it, and you care about great looking skin tones, then this video is for you. Hello, and thank you for visiting my channel. I'm Carlos Quintero from mediaonq. And in today's video, we're going to be using the Canon CLog picture profile as a baseline when we compare every available picture profile on the Canon EOS 5D Mark IV. I personally like to run this test anytime that I'm using a new piece of gear or kit that can affect how my talent or my clients might look on camera. But the inspiration to publish my test and share my results with you actually came from some of you. Your feedback and comments actually allow me and give me the ability to shape my channel into a way that can actually help and contribute to the YouTube community. So thank you for all the comments, all the thumbs up, and all of your feedback. I really appreciate it. And I'd like to extend a special thank you to Alex and Alvin for taking the extra time to contribute to this community. And if you're not already subscribed, I'd like to invite you to subscribe so that you could catch all the videos in this series and continue to help this community grow. So with that, let's dive in. In this first clip, we're seeing the Canon 5D Mark IV's CLog picture profile settings. Notice the scopes show a balanced image with natural saturation. The midtones are at 40%, which is where Canon Log wants them to be. The shadows are not crushed, and we are preserving the highlights. Now, let's take a look at the same scene with the Canon Log to Rec. 709 LUT applied. Once again, we have a balanced image with added contrast thanks to the expanded lift and what I would call a nice level of muted saturation. We are not blowing highlights and we are not crushing shadows. The tonality and texture of his skin, it's all there in a very natural way. Okay, so now that we have our baseline to compare, let's start our picture profile comparison using the auto picture profile. The auto picture profile on the Canon 5D Mark IV pushes the highlights above the 512 IRE mark, and it is more aggressive with the contrast, pushing the lift down without actually crushing the shadows. It's not a bad looking image, and one that if you could somehow keep that consistency throughout your entire project might actually be acceptable in some cases. But when we compare it side by side to the CLog version with the Rec. 709 LUT applied, you can really see the difference. In my opinion, the CLog with the Rec. 709 LUT applied version is definitely better. And if you agree with me, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. But that was the auto picture profile. So let's see what the standard picture profile has to offer. Well, the standard picture profile pushes the highlights even more aggressively. This is actually a pleasing effect because it adds luminosity to the skin tones, allowing Tate's skin to have more dimension. The highlights are protected and they're not blown out, and the shadows are not crushed. On my 5K iMac, I see plenty of detail in his hair where his hair is in full shadow. When we look at the standard picture profile side by side next to the CLog with Rec. 709 LUT, my feelings change once again. I prefer the CLog with Rec. 709 LUT applied over the standard picture profile. And at this point, I would say that my $100 investment to get the CLog feature upgrade on my 5D Mark IV was absolutely worth it. Okay, so the Canon 5D Mark IV has a specific picture profile for people. The portrait picture profile. Let's take a look. The scopes look very similar to the standard picture profile, but the saturation has definitely changed. This is a more saturated image with good separation in the midtones, allowing for more detail to show up in the tonality of the skin. My only concern is how the hair has been affected or polluted, and I can't really like that. Frankly, that just flat out does not work for me. For the sake of being thorough, and only for the sake of being thorough, I went ahead and tested the landscape picture profile. And I don't expect much because I'm shooting with a portrait lens at a typical portrait distance, and I'm shooting a person, Tate in this case. So let's see how that worked out. The saturation and contrast are pushed, but because the midtones are also stretched out, we get more pleasing skin tones. That was a surprise. It also feels like the color contrast was pushed to saturate the blues and reds a bit more, allowing for that extra color contrast. And the truth is, I don't really hate it, but when I see it side by side next to the CLog with Rec. 709 LUT version, I still prefer the CLog with the LUT applied version. And if you agree, please let me know. Now, let's take a look at the fine detail picture profile. This picture profile was intended to showcase the intricacies in texture, not skin tones. I have used this on interviews before and found the images to be pleasing once I expand the dynamic range. So like the rest of our test, we are exposing right down the middle like Canon wants us to, and we are not in danger of blowing out highlights or crushing shadows. Personally, I like to see more pink or gold tones in the skin, rather than the red that I'm seeing. But all in all, this is a pleasing image to my eye. I'm not liking the shadow noise, however, and it is distracting me quite a bit as I stare at this clip in my timeline. Looking at the fine detail picture profile next to the CLog with Rec. 709 LUT, I once again have to give it to the CLog version. It is much more natural and pleasing to my eye. There is one other picture profile for us to look at here, and that is the neutral picture profile. Looking at the scopes, we can easily see that the neutral is not really all that neutral. The red saturation is being pushed and the midtones are being somewhat compressed, all while the shadows or the lift is being pushed to the point right before the shadows are crushed. I'm also not sure that I would call this a neutral picture profile with the hue shift that I'm seeing. I do feel like I've lost midtone detail and tonality, but there is still a fair amount of depth to the skin tones. When I put it side by side to the CLog with Rec. 709 LUT version, I'm once again drawn to the CLog version. It is a nice, balanced, pleasing image that paying clients and executives would absolutely like. So what's the conclusion here and what are my final thoughts? Well, I'll say that I am very happy and pleased that I sent in my Canon 5D Mark IV to get the CLog feature upgrade. The added flexibility to use the Canon 5D Mark IV as a standalone system on remote shoots or shoots that take me out of the studio or where I have to travel, with these extra pleasing skin tones, will make it easy for me to recoup my cost. I really do feel like this should be a no-brainer. If you use the Canon 5D Mark IV to shoot video and video with people in it, and you care about your skin tones, you really should consider sending in your 5D Mark IV for the CLog feature upgrade so that you can start taking advantage of all of the benefits that CLog brings to the system. I really hope that you found this information useful. If you did, be sure to let me know by hitting that like button, and be sure to share this video with a friend who might shoot video for a living or might be interested in starting to shoot video for a living. And don't forget to subscribe so that you can see the rest of the videos in this series and some of our other produced series. Until next time, I'm Carlos Quintero from mediaonq, helping you compete in today's web economy. Thank you for watching.